and let's just say we kind of butchered it. We called them NFTs, and we actually have the guy that actually manufactures and makes the real world assets, and so he's joined us tonight to kind of set the record straight on kind of what the difference is between the two, and so we're really excited to have him. His name is Michael James Slattery. Did I pronounce it correct?
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, and he's the man behind Luminous Views Gallery, and they're the ones that are actually producing the physical art that has an NFC chip in it that's tied to an inscription on the ordinals on Bitcoin. And we kind of talked a little bit, like I have a little bit of background understanding of blockchain. I never really got too deep into Bitcoin, and so I don't have really any knowledge of it. I was kind of veering out of it when ordinals kind of started to take off, when they started getting more popular. And so we're really glad to have you tonight. And so thanks for joining us, but thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me, you guys. I mean, it's a huge opportunity. I don't get all the times I try to make an endeavor to try and, enlighten people to kind of the prospects of what this technology offers. It's a tough go. And it's a huge opportunity to speak to anybody about it.
So before we get into kind of Bitcoin and ordinals and NFTs and blockchain technology, what is Luminism and the story behind Luminous Views Gallery?
So I've been a photographer since I was a kid. As a young adult, I became a commercial photographer. And just about the time digital came along, I saw kind of the writing on the wall with what digital was going to do to the industry as far as services. And I also saw, as a service-based business, some of the things I preferred with product-based businesses. So I had this idea in college that I could never produce in a traditional darkroom. But when digital came along, I was able to execute it. And I decided not to sell it commercially. I decided to create my own product with it. And it's called Luminism. And what that thing is essentially what some of the greatest artists of all time, painting is about illuminating in the mind's eye and being able to put light wherever you want on a subject, because you're not subject to like a camera where you have one source of light, like the sun or lights in a house. This idea of how painters have painted, and also more importantly, technically, the problem, how I came up with this was in traditional photography. Our goal is to try and create prints that represent what our eyes can see. Now, a camera sees a much more limited range of tone and color than our eyes do. So as photographers, we learn the zone system and color theory and all these things to try and accomplish that sort of image rendering that our eyes, so that, you can, know what you're doing, right?
It's like whenever when I was in the Great Smoky Mountains this summer, and I'm just like, wow, look at all of this. And then you take your camera and you take a picture of it, and it's just not the same. I mean,
And so with that said, what I'm trying to do is I'm taking the camera, but what I do in my technique is I put the camera on a tripod in the afternoon, and I shoot the same subject through the day and into the evening. The same exact spot, don't move a millimeter, shoot thousands of pictures, select a couple dozen, and blend them together. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm taking a wider range of tone and color that's more than our eyes can see, and I'm blending together in this and providing, and it's created a product that's been pretty good to me. I mean, I do art shows. After COVID, I became an entitled hippie and sell on the sidewalk, but it was good enough to me to be able to maintain it. I got a 1,400 square foot space here. Downstairs is the framing and finishing. Up here is I got the printers and the computers and a small little showroom. And so that's what I've been doing for the last, ever since 2011 full time. I came up with a technique in 2003, sold my first print in 2007. And I've been full time at it up until probably 2 months ago. Yeah.
Awesome.
And that was essentially when Will really got the ball. Will from Canvas Marketing and this thing we call Pocket Mounts now. When we got this rolling, we did all of last season. We did every game that they won. We created a series of cards. It was a definite learning experience. And I don't know if you want to keep talking about that.
And go with it.
So I see in the background, I can see the kind of the larger versions of those cards. Yeah. And so that's
a Ken Carl card that was really popular, and then this is another one of Ken Carl here. Those are 4 by 3 foot prints we're doing for the show coming up. But
Awesome.
here's what we so one day Will shows up in my shop just out of the blue. I don't know the guy. He doesn't. My brother brings him over. My brother's an attorney. And Will was meeting my brother on behalf of an issue he was having with an artist, and he was trying to resolve something that. And my brother got familiar with Will in a matter of time and just literally coerced him to come down here and showed him my manufacturing technique. What I do, what really helps bring out the luminosity in my pictures is I do this thing called face mounting. I don't know if you've heard of Peter Lick. He's made a name for himself as a fine artist in galleries in La Jolla, Vegas, Beverly Hills, and all these places where he prints on a metallic photo paper and then sublimate, laminates or face mounts it to acrylic. And he gets, I mean, he sold a print for $1 million, and they're really spectacular reproductions. So when Will came over, I took one of his pieces of art and I printed it on the metallic photo paper and caps. Now, what Will does, and one of the things I do is see that edge. That's a diamond edge finish, so we're able to make a really fine diamond edge. This is the metallic photo paper with pigmented inks. I use 12 color pigmented inks. I got absolutely the widest range of tonality that any reproduction can be made. And then I'm also using archival ink that literally is longer lasting than any chemical-based photo reproduction that Peter Lick or any lab does, or the metal prints where they do dye sublimation. This is all pigmented ink. My ink costs more than the price of blood. And then what Will's really done to step it up is I normally use acrylic that's regular optically clear when my manufacture, but I don't know if you've ever had anything framed. If you want museum glass, you pay a pretty penny for it. And Will has made a considerable investment in using museum glass as the face of the mount of these. I've invested in the diamond edge finisher to get these really amazing edges.
Oh, wow.
And then on the back, we use a watercolor duck woven cotton paper back, and we print on that to try and carry over some of the feel. We're still contemplating doing 2 sheets of glass, but Will really likes the traditional aspect of it. It is a little delicate, but PSA has actually sent some of these cards that Will has been selling this past year, and they're rating them and they're saying some positive things. So
Awesome.
there was a learning experience for me. When we started having to have to manufacture, I got to get these things really accurate, and I was lucky to get within a 32nd of an inch, or an 16th probably, actually, an 1/8 to a 16th when I make my prints, but that wasn't acceptable. So what we're doing is I had to learn how to use a CNC and bring the I don't know, that doesn't sound very significant, but for me it was. So we've got some pieces of equipment, and we're getting more pieces of equipment. Apparently, I'm in the next little bit. The factor, his growth factor, it's just I never seen anything like it. How popular it is, and that was before we started doing the real world assets, or what we call the Bitcoin, or what's called the Bitcoin ordinals. That was a whole story in and of itself as well. You know what? I'm really going to talk a lot. Is there any way your questions were so magnificent? I'd really like to address them specifically because I don't want.
Yeah, so you answered.
No, you were entertaining us, man. We just letting you go, bro.
No, you're good. You answered the second question without me even having to ask it, and so that was perfect. And so just for us, because we're collectors and we collect, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, mostly cards, trading cards, different things like that. So when you were growing up, did you collect anything, cards, comics, or anything like that? Or I know people collect photos, and so I didn't know if you collected stuff like that. So what did you collect?
It reminded me, when you put that question on there, it reminded me of this instance. I was dating a woman in my mid-20s, and to be a commercial photographer, I didn't come from any kind of backing, and so I pretty much my first photo studio I kind of lived out of, and she didn't. One of the things she hated about me was I could fit my whole life in the back of a pickup truck. Yeah. And so the point being is I never really collected much. And the first time I ever really endeavored upon this idea of collecting was when I took my database of film in the early 2000s that I had acquired right when digital was coming along. And I was going to database and create an archive, or where I would be able to sell my prints. Sell my images commercially, which was, Getty and other institutions came along and took over that industry. But that was the only thing I've ever really collected, is all my film photography and stuff. And to be honest with you, that's another factor. When I was doing that, endeavoring, having hired a developer to do some PHP back in, we're late 90s. And so, the web wasn't what it was. So I had to create my own thumbnails and then a view and make it so all the pictures were numbered so that the program would automatically put them up. And that had to all be done from scratch. So I put a lot of endeavor into cataloging and coming up. And that was pretty much the first time I learned about what anxiety is.
Yeah.
It really affected me tremendously hard and kind of redirected me towards I gotta not be a service-based business. Hopefully produce a product that people like, and that's what I did back then.
Yeah. No,
I'm fascinated by collectors. I'm definitely fascinated by the idea of because I didn't know anything about how
the important comments, Brent. Run with that right there.
There we go. Okay, we had a little technical difficulties, but we are back, and so so on our reel that you commented on, you had made some really good points on there. You said these aren't NFTs; they're actual inscriptions on Bitcoin. And for people who don't live in the blockchain every day, can you explain the difference between what an inscription on Bitcoin is versus an NFT?
There's a lot of different. Firstly, NFT stands for non-fungible token. Essentially, that tells you what it's not. Yep. So that kind of leaves a lot of things up for what it could be, and that's what's so fascinating about it. And it's ironic that what happened to that technology happened back in 2020 because it was just the ultimate of speculation and people learning what the word rug means and technically speaking, what an NFT is, it's a demarcation of something that's not fungible. It's when you create a cryptocurrency, you create 1 billion of them, but or whatever number you do. I mean, Bitcoin's 21 million. I mean, how many does XRP? You pick a number, right? And when you create those tokens, they're divisible by 18. Most of it, but Bitcoin's divisible by 18 decimals past the 1/10, 1/100th, 1/1000th, 18 points. So that means the fungibility of it is phenomenal. It's gargantuan. But when you create a token as an NFT, it is a single thing that can't be. It's not fungible. When it has transferred, it has to be transferred in whole. And when people did these NFTs, they had application to smart contracts, but it's hard to get people to think in the virtual world. So they tied them to CryptoKitties. That was the first time Ethereum was actually tested back in 2017 for its network because so many people were participating. Look, I got something on the internet. It's a picture of a fucking cat. Excuse me. Right. It's a picture of a cat.
What it was.
Right. And then it went berserkers in 2020. And again, it's like I said, it was but so with that said, forgive me, the token itself, when they created the artwork on Ethereum, it was way too much of a load to attach a JPEG or a bitmap or any kind of file. So what they did is they put it on IPFS, which is interplanetary file system, IPFS. Yep. And it's what like BitTorrent and a lot of geeks use to move things. And it's like this Amazon of the cyberpunks, right? Yep. Where they can store all this data. And so when you had an NFT, you had the token, but it was tied to something somewhere else. It wasn't actually inscribed on chain. And so the Bitcoin maxis were butthurt, and not all of them, because a lot of the Bitcoin maxis were not, I'm sorry, they were not happy, the Bitcoin maxis, and a small sect of them came up with the idea of actually writing files on chain where the blockchain is, and you can write audio, video, bitmaps, vector, whatever, and that is a really great thing to me because ultimately the Bitcoin blockchain is a a network of computers, the world's strongest network of nodes and computer and processing power. That's why everybody's whining about the power usage, even though
Yeah.
all the Bitcoin and miners in the world equals about all the dryers in everybody's homes in the world. So I don't know how relevant that, but politics is really relevant today. So
Yeah.
it seems to have a resonating factor when they're trying to push us one way or the other. But because of that power and the fact that there's thousands of nodes verifying the ledger, verifying the record, verifying the notebook, that nobody's double spending and nobody's changing what has been written in it. This is literally the first time I can put something in recorded history and it will never, ever be rewritten. Now, if we look at history, if we look at the banking industry, if we look at what happened during, a lot of different times where, the banks were too big to fail, or other situations in academia and stuff, we don't always get the story. And I think it's really important that individuals can look at records and draw their own conclusions and not rely on the experts, because a lot of the experts these days aren't treating us the way they should. And I'm not. And so when we're trying to take that technology and incorporate it into what we're doing here, now I'm not going to say it's perfect. But if you take the time to understand what we're doing, I think you'd consider that it's a significant factor, particularly considering what those auto pen, that guy who killed himself. I don't know anything about that. What happened a few months ago with Pokemons, and this is one of the most outstanding verification methods that doesn't require an expert that you have to pay to tell you if it's real or not.
Yeah. So our reel that we made, like, again, it's really just a clip from kind of what we're doing right now. And so it doesn't give you like the full context before or kind of after. It was just one little thing. And so, but that's what we were actually talking about is like, what is Topps? What is Panini? What are Fanatics? I mean, what are they going to do to be able to prevent and truly have authentication on something that can't be changed? Like, this is tied to this. And so that's why pocket mounts and canvas marketing and what you all are doing actually came up in the conversation, because it was like, this is how you can actually like authenticate something, and it can't be changed. And so if a company says, okay, we have this inscription on Bitcoin now, and it's tied to this physical asset, and that's it, it's there, and you can't, it can't be changed. And so like that's the true, and again, I don't know enough about, and I'm hoping that my next question will kind of help me understand a little bit more, but I don't know. I just thought it's so neat to actually see kind of the digital world and the physical world kind of meeting together to where you can have that authentication for a collectible or the piece of art that y'all have. And so that's just really cool. But so if I owned one of the pocket mount canvas marketing cards that has the NFC tag in it, and I decided I wanted to sell it to somebody, how do I transfer ownership?
The same way you would do with any normal card. Well, because what we've done is kind of eliminated the concern of whether or not you have it in your wallet. Possession's 9/10 of the law.
Yeah.
And the virtual world with these NFTs, that was a big quagmire, if you ask me. As far as like calling what that stuff is art, I mean, but art's a very very vague term that can be used in many ways, and so I don't want to take it. I'm not trying to say that it's not art. It's just that so much of our world, we're losing touch, smell, sight. Everything's coming from this screen, an incident screen. It's like, and that's part of the reason probably why these collectible cards the trading card industry is so popular now, maybe because people like, I'm amazed at the number of people when I go set up in the public, the number of, especially young people that have cameras that are film based. It's so cool to see.
Well, think about vinyl as well too. I mean, that's like basically saved like the record industry pretty much, is having that physical asset. I was in a mall. There's a record shop in my mall now by my house. And I was like, there's a record shop here now. I mean, it's not like a record shop. I don't know. It was kind of a weird deal. It's more commercial, almost like a Sam Goody, like redone again, but it's all vinyl. And so, but like they don't have, you can't really buy, sell, or trade yet. And they have like one section of like old stuff and everything else is just new prints, but it's just that it's like what you're talking about. The ability to sit down and put a vinyl on and listen through a whole entire album in order to fully appreciate what that artist actually put together, versus kind of the technology side of it, where I'm going to listen to this song from this artist, and I'm going to listen to this song from this artist. I mean, we're young, but we're still old enough, or I guess we're old enough to remember a time when you had a CD or you had a tape and you had to kind of listen through the whole thing. A CD you could kind of skip through, but even the tape side of it. But I don't know, it's really cool to see how that stuff is kind of circling back around to where people are kind of pushing against the technology that's out there. So another question I had about, I guess, the inscription on Bitcoin, like or ordinal, what exactly is that, and how is that kind of tied back to the asset?
Let me finish your first question about trading the card.
Okay.
And it might help. The answer might fall over to what you just asked. So what we're doing is possession is 9/10 of the card, so you don't have to worry about transferring the actual the ordinal that's attached to it. And how I attach or how we attach the ordinal to the physical is the ordinal is held in a wallet, right? So what I do is each ordinal is in its own wallet, and I take that wallet's private key or password, and I print a physical copy of it, and I'm encapsulating that password and in a printed form and the NFC chip between the acrylic and the paper, and so you can see how thin the NFC chip is, as well as the paper. And that is by doing, and then once that's done, I destroy the wallet. Now I haven't destroyed my last batch of wallets, and I don't, because I have to when I publish, I don't have a node, and I'm not the full-on Bitcoin expert. What I'm doing is I have a Genesis wallet, and I create a bunch of different wallets underneath them, and then I create and mint the ordinal for each wallet. And then from there, once I do a certain amount, I destroy that wallet. So then that wallet, there is that factor that you have to trust me, and I'm trying to come up with some technique, programming, where this can happen, where I'm not copying and pasting that keyword from that wallet into a physical form. I'd like to be able to do that where I don't have the opportunity to look at it. But so there's that factor of trusting me. But beyond trusting me with doing that, once these are done, they're virtually trustless, because the whole functionality, if you want access to the virtual asset, you literally have to destroy the physical product to separate it. So I'm encapsulating the virtual asset permanently inside of the physical asset until the holder of that property decides that they want to take that Bitcoin out of it.
That's interesting.
Or it's not Bitcoin. It's 546 Satoshis. To the file size takes up, with the meta tags, takes up 546 Satoshis. And for what it's worth, one Satoshi is one. Put it this way: there's 10 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin.
Yep.
So that's again that divisibility I'm talking to, and it takes tens of thousands in fees for me to mint it. And that's another reason why so many people probably aren't doing this. I've waited as long as 17 hours for a transaction, because Bitcoin is such a big network, very expensive, and slower than molasses. But with that said, it's the most significant way that, will investors, because I really wanted to do this on Solana because it's so cheap and fast, but the people at the time, it seems to have an impact. People really seem to Bitcoin's not going away.
No.
The president's talking about it. I mean, why that matters, I don't know, but
shares people.
So
that's all that.
Right? Is there value in the coin? Is there? I mean,
the value is in what it's worth it's the same value that you would place on
Okay.
a card at a card show. There, you can't. You're not going to be able to take those 546 satoshis and go to an exchange because it's non-fungible. You can't. It's
Right.
not divisible. You
Cool.
know. And so, yeah, that
That
there might be a marketplace where somebody will give you a minimum amount for something like that, or you know.
cool.
But
It's coming.
you can't take it to an exchange and
Yeah, because
exchange for
and
a
again,
token.
it's just my brain going to like the NFT side of thinking of it. It's like, oh, well, now I have this physical asset, but it's tied to Bitcoin. So there was, I don't know, it was just me trying to understand, like, if the value of Bitcoin goes up, does the value of
No.
okay, cool.
Well, it does theoretically because the network and the validity and the value of those 546 satoshis right now is worth about 60 cents or 70 cents. It'll go when it goes up to $1 or $2. There's what we've done essentially is there's 21 million Bitcoin that are going to be mined. By inscribing on those Bitcoins, that provides less Bitcoin for everybody else to buy and mint, and therefore less supply, higher demand, bigger value.
Pushes the value.
So in a market sense, but in a true to the individual holder, the
Right.
actual value is going to be within the whole reason everybody collects because they want to
Yeah.
pet it and they want to
Right.
So look
Right.
at it. Yeah.
That's why I like
and
that.
I'm just trying to alleviate so much of what this expert space. Crypto was created because there was a certain number of people that screwed up that should have gotten punished, but they were saved because if they didn't save those people, the people on top of them would have been affected. And I think our
Too big to
society's
fail. Come
relied
on.
on what?
I said too big to fail.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I like PSA and I love what they do and tag and all them, but there's other we let's compete. Let's see what the people want. Let's see. And
exactly.
I want to work with PSA. I'd love to. What I understand of it, and other people, because you know some of the technology with cameras and stuff, and being able to rate something. You know,
Yeah.
I have a hard time with rating agencies, like I have a hard time with judges. Like for instance, I was born and raised in Southern California, and I watched throughout my lifetime. I've watched skateboarding progress immensely. Where
Yeah.
guys are jumping out of air. But now on the other end of the coin, I've watched surfing, and surfing's turned into golfing. I remember in the '80s, Nathan Fletcher was doing airs out of the top of the waves, and everybody in the surfing industry is like, "No, that's not surfing," and they wouldn't judge it, and they just totally. And I'm not a fan of like when Tony Hawk gets a contest and it's clear somebody else won. No matter what, Tony's cheering for the guy that won. And
Right.
I think in our society in general, I think we need more of that. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do. Let's how can we make this better? Let's make
Right.
this better. So
So if you have the card in your hand, you can scan it with your phone, and then you're able to see the actual ordinal. Is that how it works?
can do I have one? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If I can find one real quick here.
In theory, is this what Arena Club is trying to do, Brent?
Mm,
I don't know about the backside of it, no, but just the whole virtual aspect.
no. So that what they're doing, and kind of what I think it's Courtyard IO, and
Yeah.
then those
Give me a
they're
sec, I'll
based,
be right back.
Go for
yeah,
it.
no problem. What they're basically doing is they're allowing you to open up a repack basically and get a card, and then choose to either have that card sent to you so you can have it, or they just store it for you, almost like a vault,
Vault.
like a
Gotcha.
vault. But I mean, there are like Panini, and I want to say Tops, and
It's the second page on Panini. You go and it says interactive or something like that. I was just there today. It was funny.
yeah, there's digital sports cards.
So I've incorporated a chip into one of these, and when you float the phone over it, it pops up. And here,
See.
oh no, I got the wrong. This was a test. This is my own artwork, but the chip that's in here has been Let me see if I can find one. The chip in here has been programmed to go to my artwork, but this is the ordinal on the artwork. I mean the
Information.
artwork online. Yeah, what's Satoshi, how big it is, the meta tags we put in there. Let me see if I
Would you be able to
have
see
one.
like the track record print to see what someone
Where's the
paid?
big
And then
one?
that would you know it would
Yeah.
affect what you're willing to pay, right? You see a true market. That's how I look at this. if you're able to scan that and I can
Here we
see
go.
everybody that's bought
Here's
it, and I can see the true value of it, I love that aspect of this.
Yeah.
This is the second ordinal I ever did for Will. I own it. I print out a certificate of authenticity. He puts them in these boxes. Here it is here, in a case. And through the case, you should be able to read it with your phone. Oh, come on. Here, let me do it again so you can see the back. It's more legible on the back, apparently. But there's, it went up
That's
twice.
badass.
And you don't even need a QR code or anything. All the
Yeah.
new phones, the NFC, it's just your Apple Pay. And then here's all the down here. I put all the tags, and you can see it's a Lucky Monk piece of art. The date I did it.
That's badass.
Warriors versus Rockets. It said Warriors versus Rockets.
Yeah, see, we did a game for every game. We did a card. It was a nice.
See, I love that, Brent.
I learned about production with this guy. I'll tell you what. Having to have a whole set of cards done the next day after a game so we can auction them. And these cards,
legit.
dude, these cards, you know what?
What does that process look like? I mean, is it how long does it take you to make one? And are you making them individually, or are you making them like on a?
What I do, I'm sure Will is not going to. This eventually we get a larger CNC, but eventually, ultimately, I print out a sheet that's about a 1 foot square, and it's got 6 on there. And the reason I can't put more is because the bit for the CNC is such. I print it on there, and then I attach that photo paper print. I use a double-sided here. This photo paper print, I print on this metallic photo paper. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Man.
And I use a double-sided optically clear. I put the adhesive here, and then the acrylic over the top of it. And there'll be like 6 of them, right? And so once I get that done, I attach it to another. Well, I don't have to get detailed, but
don't give out all the secrets.
Yeah.
And then the CNC cuts it out. It's a rough cut. And then we take the printed backs of the duck woven paper, the cotton watercolor paper.
Part, Brent, right there. So you get the texture, the feel of a card.
Yeah.
So I print that out, and then I print the I mint the ordinal, and I'll do those. Like I generally do those in batches, because it's expensive and it's easier that way. So I'll do those beforehand, and we'll come up with the names and the meta tags, and so I'll have to batch all that minting, and that's consuming of time because I have to take the Bitcoin, I have to make a wallet, deposit the money in the wallet. There's 2 transactions to get the ordinal, and I have to type in all the meta tags for each and every one. And then once the ordinal's created, I get the seed phrase and I print it out, and I can give you a quick example of what the seed pod. Maybe Will doesn't want me to show you what the seed pod's essentially a small sheet of paper with a printed on there in a way so that when you destroy it, you're not going to destroy the word, the letters, the secret, the password essentially. Yeah. And then I have a flat chip. We spent some time researching. I finally found a manufacturer in Europe who makes chips that are rated 200 years. Now these NFC tags, they don't have a battery or anything in them. So it's just an antenna. It's just an antenna, and your phone just flicks off the antenna that sends you to the URL where the ordinal is. So I program it, and then once it's programmed, I have to do another little program where I make it so it's read-only. Remember CDs? You can make them read-only?
Yeah.
I need to make the chip that it's read-only because you don't want anybody screwing with your chip. And then I'll bring them together. And then once they're together, I run it through the diamond edge finisher. Once it's all together, we do the edges and finish, and then Will spends about 20 minutes wiping each one off because he wants them actually spotless. He wants to make sure they're spotless. So I don't know if that's answering your question maybe too much.
It's awesome. Like
I never thought of the shelf life aspect of it though, Brent. When this whole new age, I never thought of a shelf life, and we're not going to see the shelf life, right? But that's badass.
So what it goes in what I'm trying to create physically. I mean, if as long as electricity never gets turned off around the world, however long that is how long the ordinal itself will be on chain, and I want the work that, that's, I've done that with my artwork,
Right.
and so it kind of incorporated. When Will saw that, like when my brother brought Will over and I showed Will what we did, you should have saw him light up. He's really a reserved, not reserved, but he's quiet and stuff, but he was lit.
So were you doing the NFC tags in your art?
Oh, man.
No, remember he was doing the pictures all day, and then he would get the aspect of it, and it would change the lighting.
Yeah, I've been doing my photography forever.
Yeah.
But the Bitcoin stuff is I'm fascinated with the whole, ever since I took a sociology class and somebody told me that the ultimate problems of all society comes down to, essentially, if you talk to any tenured sociology teacher, it's a disproportionate distribution of power and money.
Yeah.
And so that's what fascinated me about crypto, and I could tell you a bunch of stories about, but I'll go here. I got kind of really geeky into it, and let's think about this. Banks, they have credit cards, right? And you go get a credit card, and if you don't pay it off, you get charged interest. Who gets that interest? It doesn't go back to anybody but the people you borrowed from. And the people that you borrowed from, where'd they get the money? They literally pull it out of thin air, right? And if we were to take, literally, dude, so like if we were to take just the interest alone that these people, there's so many words to describe them. If you just take the interest alone and you were to divide that up amongst every man, woman, and child in the United States, do you know how much money that would be?
A lot.
Don't want to do it.
Like, right? So with this in mind, I paid the developer, in Russia, and he was the first developer that I spoke to that I could trust, and I did the same kind of a thing where back in 2017, I created a token. I tied it to the price of Ethereum, and then I copied it onto Tron. I copied it onto Pulse Chain, and what it is essentially you buy my token, but it's tied to the price of Ethereum. So you essentially buy Ethereum, but when you buy my token, I call it Pitcoin, Participation in Immutable Transparency.
Mm-hmm.
I've come up with other tokens too, but this was, I think, the best one. You pay a fee, you pay a 5% fee, and when you pay that fee, the contract automatically distributes it amongst all the users. So everybody that's participating in it is getting a dividend without it being pulled out of magic thin air. Yeah. And it's the same as a credit card. And if credit worked like this, where it was distributed equitably amongst the people that are actually using the credit, the world would be a much different place. Unfortunately, I'm a terrible promoter, and the degenerates I hang out with, that token never took off, but it's still live. I did 3 test nets. I audited it twice. So this is my background, where why I'm into crypto and stuff. And so that's why I brought that up. Cool. That same developer I was paying when NFTs first came out, we had a test net where he created a place where you could have an exchange and these NFTs. And I was like, dude, the more I got into NFTs and the more I wrapped my head around it, the more I was like, nah. I didn't I wrote some. And then when I started working with Will, because I wanted to do it with my own artwork, and I was, a little bit here and there, but just to have to talk to people in the way I'm doing with you is so rare, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for this.
No, thanks for explaining. You've opened my eyes just from the little bit we talked so far.
Yeah, yeah, but it to me, it's still like, I don't know, like you said, it can't be changed, and so that piece of artwork is now tied to the physical art that you have right there is now tied to Bitcoin. And so that's it's on chain. And so that's awesome that's going on.
That's legit.
That's what I like, that word legit. I've always liked that. And I think it's up to the individual to decide how to use it. A lot of people can interpret a lot of different ways. And, I've had a couple interviews where, they picked it apart so much so then they saw that, nothing's perfect. And then they kind of walked away, and I'm just like, I gave you use cases, I gave you reasons why, but you see this one side of it, and that's great. I mean, I'm grateful that you actually wrapped your mind around it, but I'm looking for solutions. If you're going to say, okay, that's a problem, well, help me fix it. And it's not that there's the one thing that I've thought about was, people could copy what I'm doing, but ultimately, the person who's holding the original will know as soon as they destroy it. You could go to some great lengths and copy what we're doing, but there'd always be a way to know whether it was legitimate. Up until, the only way you know actually it was legitimate is to destroy it if somebody got away with the level of work it would do to copy what we're doing. And so what I came up with is this idea where I could get a thing going where when you scan the chip, it would capture the IP. So then we could actually trace its physical movement around.
Yeah.
But that data is data that would be very valuable to certain people. And if I were to put it on chain somewhere, because that's the only way I would do it, I'd make it available. I'm not cool with that. I don't want, I don't want to know where your money is in your, or I don't want to know. It's none of my business. So, I'm really excited about, how receptive the world's been to it. We're working with these guys, this guy heavy into Bitcoin, well, he's actually heavy into the NFTs originally. Danny Yang, he did these on-chain monkeys, and he did like 10,000 of them in one transaction on Bitcoin, cost him $1 million. And he is the CEO of Pocket Mounts now. The way Will got things going, and I have a huge downstairs. One of his works. It's pretty cool. Of his, it's a celestial on-chain monkey.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're trying to, get his. Will's really just great at. I couldn't believe it. To be honest with you, we were going to do NFTs when I first met. When I was always telling Will, we should make it even better. We should make it even better. We were going to invest in some people, some developers, a bunch of money he didn't have, and so we didn't do that. And then, wham bam, Charlie Lee and Danny Yang came along and wanted to meet Will. And man, it's been like my whole idea has gone way bigger than I thought it would. It's kind of weird. And I'm kind of right now, I'm like, I've spent the last 3 days, dude. I've minted in the last 2-3 weeks over 150 ordinals. It's just
wow.
And that's not including these, these prints in the back here. These are 3x4 foot prints. And this is on these. What we do is I put the the museum glasses on the front, and then on the back it's 1/4 inch, and then hang them on the wall, kind of a thing. And so I'm doing a bunch of these right now, and putting the chips inside of these, and it's
wow. Is it what player is that? Is that a baseball player?
No, that's him golfing.
This is Steph. What?
That's his whole push. Steph has a whole program with kids and everything with the golf. That's what I figured.
That's awesome.
This is his eat, learn, play thing. I think part of, but ultimately this is Mickey Ardell's artwork commemorating Stephen Curry's hole-in-one in 2023 at the tournament in Tahoe.
Nice.
Wow. So, yeah.
Oh,
check it out. Watch this. You can do it on this one here. I think this isn't one. I screwed 3 of them up. I don't think this is. I put the chip. Will have me put the chip in certain spots. So. Where the heck did I put it? That should be in here. You can see it. You can see it through the back. This is how I screwed it up. I didn't put it on the thin one. I put it on the behind the thick one, so you can't do it through the face. So that's why we had to redo it. But it's on the back here. Usually, I had it work on the front originally. There it goes.
There it went.
Yeah, there it is.
Man, that's pretty awesome.
That's what's coming to right.
So, what challenges have you run into combining physical assets with, and then having to mint the ordinals?
Keeping my head straight. I got. Will comes up with edition numbers for each little run or each one of one, and then I'm also coordinating. This is the very first art. We have a serial number, RWA number. And so I have that number that I have to make sure, and then moving Bitcoin around, having making sure there's when I go to mint, like I'm having an issue right now on 151 RWA 151 for what is it, Babyface Ninja. For some reason, the place where I do the inscriptions are, I don't know, my wallet or something. And it's the last one too. It just makes you so nuts.
Yeah.
So dealing with the Bitcoin blockchain is a problem. I need to get a node. I need help. I've got 200 feet worth of routing I got to do on the big prints downstairs, and there's going to be another 100 feet tomorrow if things go the way they're supposed to, and I don't run out of adhesive. But Yeah, so I don't, all kinds of things try to get in the way. You just
Keep going.
that's it. Next.
Next.
That's our thing. That's Will and I. We're constantly running into like he's trying to get a new space for sticker printer and a flatbed cutter. He really wants to set up a production, step up production, and you know, every time somebody tries to pull every time somebody does like this, we're like, next. He's good like that, bro.
So you're all in on this with them now, or do you or what do you have?
The last 3 months.
Any other projects?
Last 3 months.
Any other projects you're working on, or
I've turned away. I've had 3 other photographers because I do other printing for people. The space where I used to set up in front of this commercial space, I haven't talked to that guy in a couple of weeks, so my whole life's kind of changing.
It's good, man.
They've been pretty gracious to me. They put me in a position where I can do that, and they've sacrificed in order to make this happen because I guess they believe in what we've got going and the fact that they think I can do it, and so far I have. Will has been kind of demanding. He almost doubled the units after each game. It's not demanding. It's just it's all business, and it's great because I've never worked for somebody who's so respectful when it comes to business. Yeah, it really is.
Well, we'll have to see if we can connect with Will and get him on to explain more of canvas marketing and kind of all the stuff that that he has going on. I know that I saw he was doing some stuff with Gary Vaynerchuk as well too, and so yeah, it's pretty crazy. And like that, I mean, Gary V, I met him at the National in Cleveland, not the one that just happened, but the one before. And I've been listening to him and kind of following him for, I don't know, 12 or 13 years probably now. And so like, he's always been kind of a big inspiration for me as far as just, I know that's the reason I got into NFTs kind of was just kind of listening to him and when him talking about it.
He still swears by him.
But I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like if you have a legitimate person who's not trying to just take people's money and they have an artist, or maybe that person is the artist and they have really like beautiful art. Like, I mean, one of the NFTs I got, it was, I can't remember the name of it just because I sold it such a long time ago, but this guy was a real artist. And like, he had like these crazy, Peruvian aliens. And so like, and they were, I'll have to look them up now that I forgot what it was, but I mean, I bought one, I paid like $150 and then I sold it for like, I was like $4,000 or something like that, what it ended up being for. And that's what that was. It's kind of like when I mean, I like to play blackjack and I'll get on runs and I'll get way up and then I just lose all my money. And I got greedy. And so that's why I should have just sold that one and then kept that money and done something else with it. But I just bought more because I got greedy thinking that I was going to get the next quick buck. But that's just how it goes. And so, but I still think that, I don't know, like one of the ones that I did get into was the Deadheads and like their, what is the other one's called? The Skull. Again, it's been 3-4 years now. Let it go, Brent. You're like, yeah.
I never trusted it. He was trying to sell me hard,
on him.
And this dude was talking about going and getting on a plane and being in a line, and I'm like, but what do you mean? And I'm coming from buying art, right? And like you're saying, hold it in my hand, coming home, doing the same process. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna let this go for a little bit and see what's going on. And now so I give him shit about it. I won't let him forget it. So I love seeing this aspect of it. So
it's a trigger. If somebody brings up crypto or NFTs, I was really, really passionate about it. I wanted to,
you wanted us all involved.
Yep. I wanted to, start an NFT frame company and then install frames in like people's houses so they could display their NFTs. And like I think it was NFT frames, I think is what I had.
His head. He had this.
You were going to print the artwork and then frame it?
No, I was gonna have the physical, basically a TV is what it ended up being, like just a monitor that
little LCD screen, LED screen. Yeah.
No, these were going to be like big ones, like that were, and then I wanted to be the service provider to install it for people that were going to embrace all these NFTs and have all this artwork in their house and stuff like that. And so that's where my mind was at the time. And so,
As a
but,
degen, I kind of came to the conclusion when I was getting into the NFTs. I'm like, that Board Ape Yacht Club picture went for $1 million.
I
Who bought
understand.
it? Oh, we don't know who bought it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Courtney Love bought her own music, and it's really nice and to be able to you buy your own stuff and then wash your money through it. I mean, the art world's been full of it since the 80s. And so I kind of came to the conclusion as a pessimist and as a jerk I am, that, that space was where all the people with all the crypto money used it to
yeah,
have something to do and maybe even wash some of that money. And for what it's worth, I kind of have this perspective about crypto in general. Don't get me wrong. I definitely hold a lot of different cryptos and very speculative. But with that said, I'm watching Michael Saylor and these Bitcoin treasury companies pop up where these institutions, instead of buying bonds, government bonds, money,
yeah,
they're buying Bitcoin because they think Bitcoin's money. And they're kind of annihilating the whole narrative of what Bitcoin's about. Bitcoin's about like the individual, not your coins, not your if it's not your wallet, it's not your coins. If
right.
you're not holding it, you don't like real life. Like that's what Bitcoin was about. And these institutions, because of the participation and the amount of essentially liquidity that they're going to yank out of it, just like they did in FTX. I mean, I've watched every 4 years, boom, 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 boom. Every 4 years, and you're going to tell me, "Oh, that was God," or that's just the animal spirits of the market. Come on, bro. It's and during these times it happens. It's, interest rates are going up, interest rates are going down. All these guys, Fibonacci, and all these like analysis, stuff and what comes out of their pie hole into mine. No, it's a super speculative space at this point, and it's not being used in the manner I think that will have the most impact. And that's why I'm really keen on. I'll be honest, I still feel just as strongly about what I'm doing if Bitcoin went down to $1.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away. There's diehards that believe in kind of the whole white paper and what trustless, what permissionless, and what transparency is about, and how significant it is. I don't understand why 99, 98, 95% of the people out there. I mean, I think when things get bad enough, they're going to be forced to reckon with, experience and,
Can't beat them, join them. That's what I'm trying to.
And that's what everybody. I mean, I did. Like I said, I'm speculating, but still, I'm
with you.
I believe. I believe in Christ. Save me. I still believe.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate your time today. And we're really glad that you were able to join us and kind of set the record straight on kind of what the difference is between, I guess, an NFT and kind of what you all are doing. And it's what you all are doing is not an NFT. I'm just going to make that clear again. And
it's okay. We get caught using the same term because we just want to make it easy for people to understand. Thank you for putting it. I really appreciate you driving that.
No, thanks for educating us, man. This has been a lot for me. I didn't get involved, right? I didn't trust it. So to see this aspect, I see it growing. I see different avenues from what you're using.
With that said, the preponderance of units that we've manufactured, it's just the pocket mounts. It's without the chip in it, the Bitcoin ordinal attached to that unique work of art. He is getting a significant consideration for them, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if they're worth a heck of a lot more, especially the way the market is. But
so the
pocket mounts themselves, the pocket mounts. What's that?
Where do you find them at?
Who?
Your cards.
Canvasmarketing.com.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. To be honest with you, man, that he's up and down with the website. It's the Whatnot. Whatnot is really where he's unloading most. Whatnot when he does his broadcasts.
What's the channel?
Canvas MKTG. Canvas MKTG.
Yeah, but tell Will we said hello and we'd love to have him on
most
anytime. And hopefully we can connect again soon. But thank you. And this is Sweet Cards, dude.
Yes, I think I like it. side of
They say invest in gold, golden flow. So instead I invested in crypto, having conversations, the paper talking. 2025, I'll be taking profits. And 21 was hollow to the moon, cause soon I'll be taking spaceships down space station hopping. David Goggins, yeah, you can't hurt me, especially when I hop on beats from Hurting Murphy. She was FM station swapping when she heard me, and now I'm getting kisses like my name was Hershey. I can never go wrong breaking laws of Murphy. Chose to serve the world, now the world serves me. Dessert, please. I got that sweet tooth from beginning to the finish. I MC still getting loud in my head from the words I've never said before. I'm trying to drown in it, call Wendy Peppercorn. That's a Sandlot reference. I ain't on the fence, I'm over it. Sailing independent, I have ownership. And my bread getting thick while your pockets on keto. Showed